Mr. Dimitrios Bouras, photographer and documentarian. Thank you very much for coming. The floor is yours. This word,
Turn on.
Okay.
Should we turn off the lights?
This here.
Hello, and thank you very much for the invitation and giving me the possibility to address. Usually I'm on the other side, and usually my role is to bring the news. So nowadays, to create the news, for me the most important thing is to bring you inside my finder and look through my lens. So through my lens, and under the words of the father of photojournalism, Richard Hebreson, that in photojournalistic reporting, inevitably we're outsiders. And moving further, we're more than outsiders, we're invaders. We are been there, we are in a place, in a territory, in a situation because something happened, otherwise we wouldn't be there. And we have to respect that. We have to respect the history. We have to study. Otherwise, we will be a bunch of people in a double-decker shooting images and posting on social media, which is the new trend in the new media terrain. And it's the new underlying culture. I can't help but wonder if images like that will appear again. And when I'm saying images like that will appear again, I'm meaning if images will have the impact and create the shift and even change the route of the history. Like that famous one from 1972, I'm sure all of you are aware. In the same spirit, I'm sure all of you have seen hundreds, maybe thousands of pictures showing, depicting newborn babies in a cardboard in the recent refugee crisis only last year, either on the islands or in the mainlands, either of Greece or Macedonia, Serbia, Hungary, whatever. But I still keep wondering if all of these images will have the impact and create the change, like that one from 1973, where the appearance of this image in the news in the United States created a crowdfunding, and people went there, they took the key, it passed through a surgery operation, and nowadays she's living in Ohio, and I hope she's not voting for Trump. Anyhow, we are being bombarded of those images, and according to my opinion, the recent images of the newborns in cardboard boxes, what they created is an apathy. I call it the detergent effect in the commercials. I mean, big names, big brand of either refreshment or detergents, they don't need to be advertised. The only reason is to keep the brand inside out. So, this way, we gain this apathy because we are asking for this, we are using this role, we are using this tool. It doesn't mean that we are not curious. I'm certain of that people are as curious as they ever been. But in the new media terrain, the field creates and paves the way. First, with the collapse of the advertisement model. When I'm saying the advertisement model is the way the news has been financed. So, the widespread now, the different media tools, being microsites, blogs, social media, name it, spread the advertisement expenses and created the collapse. The first victim is the editor, is the death of the editor. So, we don't have anymore the real editor who is going to check, search about the truth and bring it to us. We have thousands of images that created the 30-second effect. Image comes in and out. Nowadays, less than 20% of the people checking news are willing and are reading a piece of 950 words. 950 words is a newspaper page. The death of the newspaper created another huge problem for me. Through the unlimited space offered in the web, we can, from a microsite to a major media, they can put unlimited amount of images. While on my era, I'm practicing journalism for around 30 years. I know I look younger, but I had the 50 long time ago in front of my age. there were 2, maximum 3 images. And they paid for that. Nowadays, no one is paid because we are all photographers, and you can have unlimited amount of images. Just a small example, recently a prominent title, make a retrospective of my work on 5 pages. They use 7 images. On their website version, they have 70-something images. And we define the when and where. We define the when and where through after the death of the paper and after the death of the evening news. Who can recall the Walter Cronkite? There is no Walter Cronkite anymore. Now we are asking when news will be created. When I will open my cell phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever. So media houses are obliged to create news on demand. But still people are as curious as they ever been. And everybody knows that, and everybody are entering into this new media trend. A good example, a good case study for me is the Al Hayat Media Center. Al Hayat means life, and Al Hayat is the media center of the so-called Islamic State. We're calling them Daesh. They print even annual reports, like any major corporation. This is a real annual report by the so-called Islamic State. They print titles that until recently, even a hard copy can be bought in Amazon until Amazon find it out and block it. So nowadays you can find it only on PDF version, where you can have photo reports, you can have a top 10 of video that you can download or suggested video, and even advertisement of selling people that have been captured there with all the details and the information of how you can contact them and really pay the ransom for his or her release and transfer, including the price. And you can enter, and you can be accredited. This is a real accreditation. Okay, no shooting of that. A real accreditation of entering the Islamic State, and you just have to follow these 11 rules that you are subject of the Islamic State, and the 10th rule is that the rules are not final and are subject to change, and we are committed to our brothers and ISIS media offices. How you laugh? A similar one, only I needed 37 different signatures to be accredited and travel around the collapsed Iraq state and then crossing the checkpoints and entering in, that one you can shoot it, and entering in refugee camps. 37 because 37 different under-table payments in getting the. But trust me, it's not visible. This is the 4 pages that I signed to be embedded in the multinational force in Iraq or elsewhere in joining forces of United States Army, and those that depicted, the screen is not the right one. It's absolutely like copy and paste with the document that I had to sign entering the so-called Islamic State. Those that they reach the top, the Zen, for me are the Ukrainians. They are printing on credit card sizes, the accreditation, and there is no war there, of course, because it's not declared war, although there is. They call it, I'm a member of the ATO. ATO stands for Anti-Terrorist Operation. So, the collapse of the advertisement model, the death of the editor, and the new glorious, it's called glorious digital era, created, and we're going to use them friendly hashtags that we are all familiar. We are all photographers, and the famous crowdsourcing. We brought the news. We are the ones who are cutting the cost, and you are the one that you are killing me, and I'm obliged to wander around in seminars, conferences, teaching masterclass in photography to survive. Because in the past I could get like $5,000 for a wall cover photo, and nowadays you can get less than 50 in the best. For a piece from Syria, I'm receiving $200, where I have to pay the fixer $200 a day, and the rebels $50 to allow me sleeping in the ruined territory. In Iraq I have friends, and they are covering. And brought us to the bubble, to the new Truman Show, to the social media. I'm sure that you are all familiar of the movie Truman Show, right? Okay. So we think that we are the world. We think that if I write, I just been divorced, for example, a young guy in the Polynesian islands will be touched of that. But trust me, no. It's a bubble. And that bubble destroys the news, destroys the integrity, and destroys the accuracy, because it can be easily translated and can be easily transmitted. And okay, if that bubble is a small one, you have to read a famous book, Connected, by Dr. Christakis from Harvard University, so to understand the impact of social media and how many people we are using. So nowadays we are living in certain pieces, amount, of world of what's happening, or what's on your mind. Do you really care, Mr. Zuckerberg, what's on my mind? I'm sure you know. What's on my mind is a world trend in Twitter and on Facebook and in general on the social media back in January 2014. This image of the young boy sleeping with his parents between. Are you aware about this? This is the biggest and the most disgusting hoax, because a young boy was in Saudi Arabia, everything set it up by his aunt and spread all over the news. But still, in 2016, in June 2, I saw it on Greek Facebook with 3,500 shares, thousands of likes, tears that in the best case they can circuit a keyboard of computer, because in 5 minutes they were celebrating for the wedding of something, the birthday of the other, or the new pair of shoes that the young girl just bought it and I would like to get in touch with her. But the social media is not like, it's only that. The social media had a great impact, was the tool, was the mechanism in the Arab Spring, organizing the protest and disseminating information. For the first time, Facebook reportedly outmatched Al Jazeera in at least the speed of news dissemination. And the hashtag was leading the route. And if in the past governments, that's a photo that I love, and if in the past governments are blocking territories from us, from the journalists, for not reporting and clearing the situation, nowadays they are taking the plug out of the internet, like the Egyptian government did it in January 2011, confirmed by Twitter, and on the bottom you can see the traffic of the internet in Egypt that collapsed because the government took out the plug, and as a result, the next day the debt of the country affected because of that, also because they didn't understood that by blocking the internet they shut down their stock exchange. But still, censorship exists. Even the new social media, we can spread even hoax news like the previous one. Big titles like New York Times self-censored, and they decided in the printing edition that's sold in Pakistan, the image of a young gay couple in China will be too embarrassing. And at the same time, everybody in Pakistan can see even gay porno, wherever, from any channel. The Al-Hayat and the Facebook and the use of the media by the so-called Islamic State and what we call them jihadists created the tool and the travel agency, I call it, for the people of countries joining the state on a cause because in their territory they were suffering of high unemployment or social seclusion or whatever. A small case study refers to a small research that I conducted because I was conducting a research in Syria about the rebel groups, about the inflow of Kosovars, people from Kosovo territory, into Syrian territory. Kosovo has the highest number per capita of fighters for Islamic State. Most famous is Mr. Dream, who was the first that tear up his passport, Kosovan passport, and a very tempting story is this young Blerim Heta, who went in Germany, worked, and then traveled to Spain, worked again, collected some money, and built a 3-story bigger house in his small village in Kosovo. And then following the trend of the Twitter, he became a fighter for the Islamic State, and on March 25th, blew himself in the market in Baghdad, killing 52 Iraqis. Another case study, to move it fast, is the non-refugee camp of Idomeni. For me, is the most disgusting case for photography. But everybody got a DSLR and like entering in a zoo, shooting gorillas, elephants, or whatever. The day of November, of the end of November, beginning of December, there was a mass protest by Iranians that they shoot their lips, protesting for not allowing them crossing the borders. And that day, I was present in an incident that brought me back in the First World War, where there was a truce in the Christmas day, and German and French soldiers, they were selling cigarettes. The same image appeared to me, and this is really important image for me. This was sold, and this was also posted on the social media as well. And nobody ever understood the real. Nobody wanted to read the image, and check the image, and reading and studying the story. All of them, and I receive flame mails, hate mails, attacking, personal attack, even for friends, because the caption, the original caption that accompany that image is, a Macedonian riot policeman sells a cigarette with an Iranian migrant while they are protesting on the borderline of Greece Fyrom. On Monday, a small group of Iranians stuck in no man's land between the two countries shoot their lips together in a silent protest against not being allowed to continue the journey. And the media in the neighboring country of Macedonia, they keep the same trend. They were discussing how the Greeks, either on social media or in news, criticizing the use of Macedonian riot policemen. I simply follow the international practice that I'm obliged, and I had signed that, and also in the agency that I'm cooperating on several photos, we use this terminology. But everybody were concerned about the use of that. So we lost the whole picture, and we just collect a small stone in the corner, because we translate the news, we create the news, and we created this migrant poor situation that led to the apathy and to mistranslation of the real situation. Because simply, if it bleeds, it leads. And that's why wars are happening. When I took that image in back 2008 in Afghanistan, when I read on the helmet of an American soldier, "Mommy, can I go out and kill tonight?" These are lyrics from a song from Misfits rock group. I thought that I would become rich out of the royalties for selling t-shirts and posters because this brought me back in 1965 in a similar image where I saw war is hell. Unfortunately, only that one sold, because that one has the blue and the red. Also for marketing, for the products, blue and red is the most appealing. It has the hand. Someone found also Pietà in this image. I found the curse of the humanity. But we are asking about that. And that's why wars are happening. Wars are happening because we are here today. We woke up in the morning, we got dressed, had a shower, breakfast, and we went to our jobs, our profession. And the same happened in Oslo, in Berlin, and elsewhere. And in the night, we return back in the evening, and we open our tablet, whatever, and we are asking for this image. Are you aware about a famous paint of artist Bruegel, landscape with the fall of Icarus, anyone? It presents and describes exactly what I just told you. While the peasant is busy with his field, with the sheep, the city, all preoccupied, and the fisherman is fishing, somewhere in the corner, right down in the corner, helplessly, you see, you couldn't even notice. Without any help, Icarus are drowned. Like someone is dying out of acute sickness on track of food as a refugee, out of a barrel bomb or of an IED, because of our indifference. Because we just want the flash, we want the blood, and we offered it 30 seconds and some tears that can only short-circuit a keyboard. Because war for me is very simple. You don't need the blood. War is, for me, is this image that I took in Mariupolis, in southeastern Ukraine, in a normal apartment, which can be your apartment, my apartment. Could be just shoes, a plastic bag of a well-known brand, but only the addition of the gun telling you that you are in a war. It's so simple. Nothing more and nothing less. And this brings us to the opportunities and to the challenges we are facing. We, the professionals, and you, We are creating the news. You define the when, the time, you support, you supply images, and you are doing that. So the fighting there and fighting in the back of social media. The locality, because news now spread in a local base and small local businesses are covering the cost of that. And this is a great opportunity for me, especially for a territory like the Balkans. The crowdsourcing, when the media says, educate me, the new framework with the power politics, because now they cannot block, they cannot censor, they cannot, despite all the tries they are doing even in neighboring countries, we have recent examples, people can be found. The role of the European Union enlargement in the media terrain, which is really important for me, because what I saw is there is one reason to enter, and there is another reason to enter. A reason from the government point of view and the reason from the citizen point of view. It's like buying a product. You can buy for one of its features or for the other features. This has to be matched, especially inside the media terrain. Hopefully, to move from journalism is as good as the person who transmits like water from high to a journalism which is as good as your curiosity. Keeping in mind that the memory of war, however, is mostly local, using the words of Susan Sontag and an image from Ukraine 1 year after. Because what I care is the aftermath. Excuse for my language, but I don't give a shit about gun, a shooting guy, or just a little bit of blood. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much for really inspiring presentation, for connecting those nice and at the same time bitter photos. We are all here today to discuss freedom of the media in the context of the enlargement. But my impression is that you have talked a lot about too much freedom of media.
Exactly.
Yeah. At the same time about some small censorships here and then.
Which will never exist.
Yeah.
For example, very good point, because I put something flashy from New York Times. Another real case of censorship on the media is a case back in 2009, if I'm not wrong, or 2010 in Greek media, where there was a big lot of condoms from a very well-known brand that appeared to be defected, and they have to take it back. And that time I learned through a very good friend that the media house, the media shop who sells the advertisement, they have a representative always in the meeting of all the channels deciding the flow and what news will be. And this thing never appeared on any media, printed, electronic, or TV.
Okay, we always ask, what is the way out? What is the solution? We more or less know how the thing is, but what is the solution, or is it enough to just point out and to just, okay.
I'm not even inclined of coming back to the stone ages of journalism, because I will never forget the hard days that I passed inside the BBC Sarajevo, where we had at that time the or airlines, and this is a real term, and we have painted the wall of the United Nations, and at that time we were carrying rolls of films, and we were striving to develop them and finding a friend or a lead or someone or to bride or whatever to send the films back. Okay, this is not the way. Digital really brings something really good, but as good it brings the bad. And at that time maybe we're too amateur, maybe we are just a young girl, very enthusiastic, who has new baby told that she's really attached to that and she will forget it later. Maybe we will reach the equilibrium, I hope. But at least we have to understand that we have to study, and that's what I mean curiosity. Not to devote just 30 seconds. To read, to be critical, to be analytic, and please do not translate or try to bring it to my own problem. I have a problem with the name of Firo. Okay, I will still have it, but let's say I have it. Okay, when I saw this photo, it's better. This was what I dreamed, to drive you and read and understand that this happened some 100 years ago in the First World War. And it was a message for humanity. Instead of that, you decided to keep your flame wars about the name.
Yeah.
We are the media.
We are the more curiosity means more
Excuse me,
education.
and also if the media doesn't present these flashing bloody images, they will not sell it. And their organizations, their companies, and they will bankrupt. Unless it's North Korean or our national television that is fully subsidized.
Yeah, excuse me for taking your time for questions. I just want to ask one more
But I
question.
always interrupt you.
Yeah.
And that, normally I don't
Okay,
speak.
it's fine, it's fine. These are,
I found
yeah,
the opportunity now.
Because you said, yeah, there is a lack of curiosity. We need people to be curious. In order to be curious, they have to be educated. You also said there is a lack of editors. Do you think that editors can solve the problem?
Editors really
Because I don't agree completely.
No, editors, editors can be part of the problem, but editors can really help. And I'm talking about the real profession. I'm not talking about wannabe editor. And on top of that, for me it's really important, less is more. Maybe one image is enough. But also this is the curse of the digital. Because I have seen the film strip of the young girl burned out by the napalm, it was 3 shots. Also the famous shot of the police officer in Saigon who was shooting, there was just a single shot. Nowadays, or even personally, I would have shot like 30, 35. Yesterday I was in an official refugee camp in the Olympico, in Elliniko, in the old Olympic complex, carrying always my analog camera. I shot 21 picture images, while with my digital one I shot like 160, something like that.
Okay, here you are.
May I?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can allow me, first of all, thank you very much, but I would like to be complimentary because...
Thank you, yes, I allow you to say.
Yeah. I will come later and you probably will agree on what I would like to share with all of you. Because you as photographer, you know that the impact remained after that. No, I would like to come again to the question of both citizens you presented from Kosovo, you presented there. Because, you know, they are Albanians and I don't want the phenomenon to be generalized or how to say. The most important thing is that I would like to emphasize that Albania and Kosovo, both respective parliaments, were among the first countries, even from within EU member countries, on approving, adopting special packages on fighting the foreign fighters, which is, you know, ISIS is the most actual and the most touchable. How to say? Unfortunately for all of us. But we all know that foreign fighters is covering some other areas, geographical areas, and is more general. And on the other hand, without entering in detail or in a further discussion, because I don't want to take more time from the others, you know that ISIS, or how to say, those who are going to fight there, is always linked to democracy, you know, because as we have always some other citizens from within EU member countries, so we cannot generalize. It was the only point I wanted to.
Thank you.
Okay, very fast. That's a very good point, especially when you mention that both of the governments, and we all know both of the governments take the best of their measures in order to prevent such outflow of people there. But that's the most important thing for me. And I use Kosovo as an example because of 2 reasons. Because they really have the highest rate, the most per capita. So it's a case study. It's a case study, and this is very important since you mentioned that despite the fact that this is a fact that both governments are trying their best to prevent, the outflow of those fighters happened. And that's the new media terrain. You cannot prevent in Kosovo, in Albania, in Greece, in Canada, in Australia, in France, in Belgium, name a country, in Antarctica, because I can be informed. For example, back in July 2014, I was in Iraq, in Baghdad. The ice was coming down because they had already, Mosul, they had already decreed, and they got Fallujah and Ramadi, and all of us, we thought, okay, they are entering now the Baghdad. And the national television showing images of Apache helicopters, American Apache helicopters, bombarding ISIS compounds. But it was proved that the shooting was from 2003 from Afghanistan. And all the rest of the media were showing the reality. So you cannot block, not your government, you, the government, you cannot block anymore. And you have to educate people, you have to assist people learning, judging, and taking their decision. If your decision is taken, you are allowed. You can do whatever you want, it's your life. But the use of Twitter as a travel agent is true, and you cannot block it, unfortunately. I wish you could, really, because what I've seen there, those images that you see, is really nothing. Really nothing, trust me.
Thank you.
But the same I saw in the former Yugoslavia in the 90s, that I traveled and I documented everything. Because war is war, and it's a mistake.
Και εγώ θέλω να ευχαριστήσω. Σαν άνθρωπος που δουλεύω χρόνια στα media, είμαι διδάκτορ επικοινωνιολόγος, το λέω όχι για να βαρταριστώ, απλά για να πω ότι δουλεύω μόνο με την τηλεόραση εδώ και χρόνια. Και στην Ελλάδα τα τελευταία, Ιταλία, Αγγλία, και διδάσκω και σαν short notice lector στο ΝΑΤΟ, στη Ρώμη, σε ανώτατους στρατιωτικούς διπλωματικό σώμα και διδάσκω media και information. Αυτό που θέλω να πω είναι ότι από τότε που εννοείται βγήκε το κινητό και μόνο, και μπορεί ο καθένας από εμάς να τραβήξει μια φωτογραφία, ένα βίντεο και να το ανεβάσει, επηρεάζουμε ήδη από μόνοι μας αυτό που λέγεται journalism. Άρα ο καθένας γίνεται ένας δημοσιογράφος, ανεξέλεκτος, και το ανεβάζει. Συμφωνώ λοιπόν ότι πρέπει να εκπαιδεύεται, με αυτό είναι θέμα παιδείας, κουλτούρας κτλ. Διαφωνώ ότι μόνο κάνουν κακό τα new media, δηλαδή υπάρχει καλός και κακός journalism, όπως υπάρχει καλή και
Sorry for the question, because we are...
Because this is a statement.
Αυτό που ήθελα να πω. Πιστεύετε, επειδή μιλάμε για τη δημοκρατία και τα μέσα μαζικής ενημέρωσης, ότι δεν υπάρχει προπαγάνδα? Ότι στα κράτη που βρίσκονται σε εμπόλεμη κατάσταση ή σε κατάσταση πολιτικής, όπως είναι η Ελλάδα, κρίσης, δεν υπάρχει προπαγάνδα από το κράτος? Γιατί εγώ δουλεύω σε κρατικό κανάλι, δουλεύω στην Ελλάδα, είμαι σε καθεστώς δημοκρατικό. Υπάρχει ή δεν υπάρχει προπαγάνδα? Γνωρίζετε ότι η Ελλάδα σε δημοκρατικό καθεστώς έκλεισε την κρατική τηλεόραση. Πώς λέγεται αυτό?
Propaganda υπάρχει, υπήρχε, θα υπάρχει. In English, excuse me, propaganda has always existed, will exist, and is who is using. And I think it's totally irrelevant nowadays to mixed democracy or mixed countries, because we're speaking about Greece, even if you block me, even if you don't allow me to transmit, I can go anywhere in the world and I can transmit anything that I want, either through satellite or through any network. You cannot block me. I mean, this happened in the past. As I said, in the past, governments blocking territories. Now they just take out the plug of the internet. It was false, and nobody else tried to do that. And that's why I use the Middle East as example, because for me it's the new terrain, and it's the best terrain for investigating and finding out what is journalism and how journalism will be evolved in the future. So democracy is irrelevant. Definitely there will be good, and there are good and bad media, but what I wanted to bring out of that is a part of me, a part of you that you just said that you are working on this sector, everybody. The citizens are the media. And the way they are using that is worse than propaganda. Propaganda is an understatement for me. And propaganda will fail very soon because it's cursed. And everybody can understand the propaganda unless you want the propaganda as your oxygen, and that's your own problem, it's not mine. And
That's encouraging. That's
not your,
really
I mean.
nice. Yeah. Yeah. Please. Michael.
Yes. Two questions. The first one is about hoaxes.
About?
Hoax.
Yeah.
Hoaxes. And from your experience, if there is a solution in order to prevent it, because we've seen that many times hoaxes is a mean for extremists to pass their opinion in the masses, and so do you think that there's a way to prevent?
May I answer?
The first one.
May I answer? Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, it's so simple. I didn't even wanted to mention, it's so simple. You can really do that. And Google offer that. Okay, it's like advertising Google, but offer that. Images.google.com, throw the image and you will find its source. Very simple. Is what I mean, as curious as you are. If you feel comfortable of posting the image of the young children sleeping among this, and on your comments, if someone, in this case, in this specific case, many people told that because this is an old hoax. Hey, relax, it's not. I said, and how do you find out? By the stones, by the pebbles. That's the only thing. How do you know it's not Syria? And okay, a British title say that, yes, but the British are bombing the Syria. So, it's what I replied to the lady before. If you feel comfortable, no proof is enough for you. It's how curious and if you want to seek the truth. Next.
And the second question.
Brief.
Has to do.
That was my suggestion.
Yeah, I got it. That's okay. That's okay.
Somehow to relate to the topic.
Yeah.
Please.
If
Otherwise, I'll give you the list of my master classes so I will earn some money.
Do you think there's a good idea to have a formal evaluation method about content or photographs?
Excuse me.
A formal evaluation method in order to prevent this mass of content and no.
Impossible.
There is an option.
Impossible with the flow of information. I love forensics, and I love forensics, the real world, and a friend of mine just granted me a great book, Forensics. If you study, you will understand that no one is willing, because the other guy wasn't willing just to check the truth of his simple image, I mean, through the images.google.com. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, here you are.
Okay.
Please. But if you can somehow formulate your questions.
Γρήγορα.
The question of the state.
Λοιπόν, θέλω να ρωτήσω κάτι πάρα πολύ συγκεκριμένο. Συμφωνώ στην πλειοψηφία με αυτά που άκουσα. Έχω ωστόσο μια πολύ συγκεκριμένη διατήρηση. Μέχρι πρότινο, στα παραδοσιακά μέσα, αν δεν κάνω λάθος, είχαν ένα πομπό και ένα δέκτη. Ο πομπός έδινε πληροφορίες, ο δέκτης είχε μια δυσκολία στο να ανταποκριθεί. Τώρα έχουμε τα social media, δηλαδή έχουμε ένα βήμα, ο δέκτης έχει ένα βήμα να εκφραστεί. Υπάρχει αυτό που λέτε εσείς, ότι υπάρχει άκρητη και αλόγιστη χρήση. Στη δημοσιογραφία, ο δέκτης μπορεί μέσα από την bottom up δημοσιογραφία να διαμορφώσει λίγο, να βοηθήσει στο να ανοίξει ο χώρος. Το θέμα είναι να υπάρχουν τέλος πάντων θέματα τα οποία πρότινος δεν τα πιάνανε. Το θέμα είναι ότι η δική μου ερώτηση είναι μήπως αυτός ο τρόπος, με αυτόν τον τρόπο πλέον μέσα από τα social media, ο κόσμος μπορεί να οδηγηθεί λίγο πιο κοντά στο να γίνει ένας ενεργός πολίτης. Και μήπως αυτό μπορεί να γίνει όταν οι επαγγελματίες κάνουν καλά τη δουλειά τους, αφουγκραζόμενοι τον δέκτη.
That's very true. First question from me is define the professional. Otherwise, there is a famous verb by a Greek painter, Charouchis, I'm sure you know that. And second on that, you can get a hammer. You can smash my head, or you can hang a very beautiful paint. The tool is in your hand. What I'm saying is how you use it.